Okay. So, mag-aaral na po ulit tayo. So, fix ko lang yung gamit. Okay. Okay, so last week we have learned about an adjective, right? Okay, so now, so can you give an example of a sentence using an adjective? Very good. Okay, so now we're going to learn about the degree of comparison in adjective. So let us look at the first picture. So coconut is expensive. So what is an adjective that being used? Very good, expensive. And what is expensive? Okay, the coconut. How many coconut that being described? Only one. Okay, correct. Next picture, watermelon is more expensive than coconut. So in this sentence, what is an adjective? Correct, more expensive. So what have you noticed in this sentence? Do you have any idea about the sentence? Okay, so there are two nouns that being compared. Okay, so watermelon is more expensive than coconut. Okay, so in the third picture, pomelo is the most expensive of the three fruits. So in this picture, pomelo is compared to all fruits. So it is the most expensive. So we used most to compare one thing to all things. Okay, so let us back in comparative. Okay, but before that, so we have three degrees of comparison in adjectives. So, we have positive form, comparative form, and superlative form. So, in positive form, it is used to describe one person, place, animals, or thing, or in short, it is used to describe one noun. Okay? So, ginagamit siya to describe one noun or isang pangalan. Okay, so just like in the first picture, coconut is expensive. So, it describes coconut and coconut is only one. Okay, next degree of comparison is the comparative. So, in comparative, we used the word more or we add er at the end of an adjective or at the end of a describing word. Yan. So, add more before the adjective to compare two persons, places, animals, or things. So, in comparative degree, so we will compare the two nouns. So, we will compare the differences between the two nouns. Okay? So, we will use more or sometimes we will add er at the end of a word. So how do we know that we need to add er at the end of a describing word? Okay. So in comparative is we will use more or we add er at the end of the adjective word. So how do we know? So if the word or if the describing word has one or two syllables, okay, so we add er at the end of an adjective or describing word. So magdadagdag tayo ng er sa hulihan ng salita kapag ito ay mayroong isa o dalawang syllables lamang. Okay, so for example, for example, the word fast. Fast. So it has only one syllable. That's why we add er when we use this word in comparative degree. Okay? Fast, faster. Heavy. The word heavy, it has two syllables. Heavy. Okay? That's why we add er too. So if you notice, we change y into I and we add er. So if the word or if the adjective or describing word end with y, we're going to change y into I and add er. Okay. And for those word or for those adjective with three or more syllables, and it is under comparative adjectives or comparative form, we will use the word more. Okay, so kapag nasa comparative degree siya, comparative adjective, so we will use the word more before an adjective if the adjective has 3 or more syllables. For example, the word expensive. Expensive. So it has 3 syllables. That's why we used more. More expensive. Okay, so another example is the word beautiful. Beautiful. So it also has 3 syllables. That's why we use the word more. Okay, but there are few exceptions to the rules. Okay, so for example, the word modern. So modern, so it has 2 syllables only. So we can add er at the end of this word. Okay, if it is under in comparative adjectives or comparative degree. Okay, but it is incorrect. So mali daw yun kapag nag-add tayo ng ER sa word na modern, kapag siya ay nasa comparative form or comparative degree. So bakit? So pansinin nyo, moderner. So maganda po ba pakinggan? Okay, no. So hindi siya maganda pakinggan. That's why we used more plus adjective or plus the word modern. Okay. And also one of the exception of the rules is the irregular form. Okay. So yung mga irregular forms of adjectives. For example, the positive form good, when we change it in comparative, so we will use or we will make it as better. Okay, so magiging better po siya. So bakit? Okay, so kasi nasa irregular form siya. So kapag nasa irregular form, mag-change yung kanilang spelling. So hindi ka mag-a-add ng ER, hindi ka maglalagay ng more, hindi ka gagamit ng more, but it change by its spelling. Okay. Okay, so next is, okay, so punta tayo sa superlative adjectives. Okay, so how about in superlative adjectives? Okay, so in superlative adjectives, we will use the word most before the adjective to compare 3 or more person, places, things, animals, and animals or things. Okay, so gagamit tayo ng most. Okay, so and also we add est at the end of a word. So paano natin malalaman na est ang ating idadagdag at hindi most? Or ating gagamitin at hindi most. Okay, so just like in comparative adjectives, in superlative adjectives, when the word or when an adjective or describing words has 1 or 2 syllables, we're going to use or we're going to add est at the end of a word. But if it has 3 or more syllables, we used most before before an adjectives. Okay, so gagamit tayo ng most bago ang adjective. Okay, kapag ang superlative natin is meron or ang word natin, ang adjective natin under superlative ay mayroong 3 to 4 syllables or 3 or more syllables. Okay, 3 or more. Okay. Saan na yan? Okay, so example. Okay, so example sa example po natin sa superlative is Martha is the eldest of the 4 sisters. Okay, just like what I've said, when it is in superlative adjective, it compares 3 or more nouns. Okay, so kino-compare mo yung isa sa lahat, yung isa sa 3 pataas na nouns. Okay, so kino-compare mo siya sa lahat, pwede mo siyang i-compare sa lahat, or pwede mong i-compare ang 3 pataas na nouns, 3 or more nouns. Okay, so Martha is the eldest of the 4 sisters. Okay, so the word eldest. Okay, so eldest. Okay, so it has 2 syllables. That's why we used est. Okay, so let us observe the word or the article the or an article the. Okay, so in superlative, when we change or when we add est at the end of a word or at the end of an adjective word, so we will use the or an article the eldest. Okay, so another example, she is the smartest girl in our class. So, kino-compare siya sa lahat. Siya yung pinakamatalino, siya yung pinakamagaling sa lahat, sa buong klase. That's why we add est. So, smart, smart. So, it has only one syllable. That's why we add est at the end of a word. And we also use the article the. Okay? Ayan. And so, I hope you learned a lot. Okay, thank you.